Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So today folks, I want to take a look at something pretty different from the sort of thing I would usually look at on this channel, which is guitar tones recorded through a DI, not a guitar amp. Now, a lot of people have done this throughout history. Steely Dan were big pioneers of this, and a lot of funk players, Nile Rodgers especially. But most of those sounds were quite clean and spanky. What I want to look at today is the sort of Beatles Revolution type sound, plugging your guitar into a recording console preamp and cranking it up to the point it becomes a fuzz, essentially, a gated, gnarly, spitty, aggressive fuzz sound. Now, the idea for this video came from a video I was watching on YouTube the other day by Noise Generator, I think it is. I'll link to it up there now. And what they were doing is they were comparing the sound of their guitar plugged directly into a vintage Neve console with the guitar running through a pedal designed to do that kind of direct-to-console sound, the Hudson Broadcast. Now, it was a very good video, but one aspect of it I found less useful was they were comparing the guitar DI'd into the Neve console with the sound of the guitar going through the broadcast but into a guitar amplifier. And of course, as soon as you take a sort of DI'd signal and run it through preamp tubes and power amp tubes and output transformer and speakers and microphone capsules, it drastically changes the sound. In many ways, it's a much better sound. It's really fat and rich in harmonics, but it doesn't sound like a DI'd guitar sound. So I wanted to kind of make my own follow-up part 2 to that video, comparing the sound of my guitar running through a Neve-style console. Sadly, I don't have an original vintage Neve, but I do have a very nice 1073 replica preamp made by Warm Audio, and I'm going to compare that with the guitar running through the Hudson Broadcast, but then plugged directly into my interface as a DI. Now, it's important to say that the Hudson Broadcast, contrary to popular belief, isn't actually modelled on a Neve-style preamp at all. It's actually modelled on an American, I think RCA, radio station console preamp, hence the name Broadcast. So we're not comparing apples with apples here, but it is designed for that kind of direct-to-console sound, albeit into a guitar amplifier. So that's what I want to do today. So in order to do this, I've rigged up a slightly elaborate signal chain. I'm going to plug my guitar directly into a high impedance Lella P-split, which just gives me 2 of the same signal. It doesn't change the impedance at all. One of the feeds is going straight into the Warm Audio. The second feed is going through the Hudson Broadcast and into my interface. Now, I've been playing around with this setup today, and one thing I discovered quite early on is the Warm Audio preamp, even when the preamp is turned all the way up, it is quite gritty with a guitar, but it's not going to get you into Revolution territory. It doesn't have that much gain in it. So I had a little think, and what I've done is I've put a pedal in line before the P-split to boost into both the Broadcast and the Warm Audio preamp. So here I have a very old Electro Harmonix Linear Power Booster 1. Very old pedal, but it doesn't really colour the sound at all. It's very full frequency. It just gives you more. It doesn't gain up on its own. It just pushes the signal harder into whatever it is further down the line. So I'm going to use that before the P-split to boost into both the Broadcast and the Warm Audio for more gain, to hopefully make it a bit more spitty and aggressive and a bit more like the tones we're looking at today. So, without further ado, let's get DIing. we are, folks. Now, please do comment underneath, let me know what you were hearing today. I love chatting nerdy guitar stuff with you folks in the comment sections. Now, having just listened back to the audio very quickly, I can hear two pretty fundamental differences between the Warm Audio Preamp and the Hudson Broadcast. Firstly, the Broadcast is darker. It doesn't have the kind of fizzy, aggressive high end that the Warm Audio does. Now, I don't know for sure on this, but I suspect the reason for that is the Broadcast is primarily designed to run into a guitar amplifier. So it's going to have filtering up top to stop the sound becoming really buzzy and aggressive once it's going through all the sort of tubes and having the amp's flavour added on top of that signal. The Warm Audio isn't designed for that. It's designed to be kind of the last thing in chain, aside from maybe a compressor or something. So it's designed to work in a much wider frequency range because it's a mic preamp at the end of the day. And if you're using that to record, I don't know, a pipe organ, for example, which I think has the widest frequency range of any instrument in the world, it needs to be able to handle the sub bass all the way up to the kind of ultrasonic frequencies in a way that the Broadcast doesn't. So that's one difference. The Broadcast is darker and has more filtering up top than the mic pre. But secondly, as we heard at the end there, the Warm Audio does not like having a very hot signal plugged into it. It kind of gates and compresses in a very explosive way, in a way that the Broadcast doesn't. And again, I suspect the reason for that is the Broadcast is designed to have hot signals plugged into it. It's designed to have boost pedals or overdrives or fuzzers before it in line, slamming the signal really hard. And it's engineered in a way that can take that, in a way that the mic preamp wants to see a pretty low level microphone signal primarily, or maybe a bass guitar at most, and just make it louder as cleanly as possible. It's not designed to overdrive a hot signal in the way that the Broadcast is. So those are two pretty fundamental differences, but yes, we can use the Broadcast to kind of approximate the direct-to-console distortion sound of something like Revolution without having to buy a very posh mic preamp if all you've got is a cheap budget interface. So, I don't know if this video actually answers any questions whatsoever, but it was certainly fun putting it together. As I said, please do comment underneath, let me know your thoughts and opinions on all of that. I love chatting with you folks in the comments. But for now, thank you ever so much for watching, folks. I hope this video was interesting and useful in some way for you. Please do carry on subscribing. I know I always say it, but it does really help when you do that. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.